Good morning and welcome to the Mr. Maple Show. I'm Tim, this is Corbin, and we're Mr. Maple, and we list 10 new trees every single Tuesday and Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today we're going to be talking about the 10 at 10 for August 20th of 2024.
All right, guys, we got Amagi Shiguri up here, man. That's an awesome reticulated Acer pomatum. One of my first maple loves. I feel like, I saw this thing late summer, early fall. First year I started working here, had some great sizes, and I think that might have been the second maple I bought. And it is one where you just have a diversity of color. This is one I recommend. Put it in a container, find a spot that it likes, find a spot that you like, and pick your favorite color from that white to almost that deep red color, and you're gonna get some awesome looking plants.
Yeah, this can give you some of the most purple red colors of any of the Japanese maples. It's one of the most purple Japanese maples that's out there, and that's when you give it some sunlight. You put it a little more shade, you can get some metallic-y kind of colors with some green veins that are just outstanding. For us, this is an amazing, one of the smallest, slowest growing forms of the reticulated styles. Great for containers. But that 4 foot by 5 foot in 10 years kind of size, a really cool tree that's going to add a pop of color in the garden.
Yeah, I think that's something that is really awesome about this tree, is it's going to be something really showy and effective for your landscape to make it pop. But it's not going to get too large, and it really is just going to make a centerpiece out there in the garden, honestly.
Next up, we've got some high grafts of Acer pomatum sekimori.
Guys, this is an awesome weeping lace leaf. It's going to get real nice and wide for you. 6 to 8 feet in 10 years. It's going to be an awesome one to have in the landscape. If you're looking for something like a green lace leaf, that's a little bit more flashy.
JD Vertrees says this is perhaps one of the most outstanding green lace leaves of them all. He loves the fall color, which can be some really nice shades of yellows to oranges. It has this really arching out habit, so it stays low and spreads out, which gives it a unique dynamic. JD Vertrees also in his book says, plant these lace leaves on a hill so you can look up and really appreciate the structure, because then if you plant them up on a hill, you can actually see into the structure of these weeping cascading types. Sekimori, it's a classic. It's one of the first green lace leaves we started carrying here at Mr. Maple. We actually started having this before we had Verdus and Waterfall, and it's one we fell in love with. We always try to make available. One you don't see that often in the nursery trade, but when you see a specimen, like there's a gorgeous specimen at Ceras Gardens, you fall in love with this tree and you realize this tree has something special about it.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with structure. I feel like that's one of my favorite things when it comes to lace leaves. You see all those mounding effects that happen, certain branches get taken out or pruned back, and it really just lets the tree speak for itself in the structure. I mean, the weeping and mounding varieties have some of the coolest skeletal structure in the wintertime, in my opinion. All right, guys, up next, we got Acer pomatum Japanese lanterns.
Yeah, this is a selection from the Area 51 collection, and the leaves cup down like little Japanese lanterns.
Yeah, this is one, something about the curling maples really just calls to me. I mean, things like Naruto and that sort of thing, just like Japanese lanterns is a different kind of curl. It's instead of on the margin of the leaf, it's more straight down on all of the lobes, and I love just how it curls up. It's so beautiful.
When you see this thing lit up in the fall color, it's electric. It has a unique growth habit where it puts out these long branches where the lanterns, the leaves just sort of hang off of, creating that lantern effect. And when we saw this in fall color, the name Japanese lantern just fell off our tongue because it's natural, it's beautiful, and it's got a unique texture. And I think that's the thing that people often overlook in a garden is texture. I mean, texture is what ties the garden together. Even in a sea of a green garden, you add texture and it just captivates you. And I think that's what Japanese lanterns provides in the garden.
It's definitely something that looks a lot different than most of those regular small leaf green palmates, and the fall color just can't be emphasized enough. It is true to form when we say Japanese lantern for the fall color, just lighting up the garden with those oranges and reds, and it's an awesome cultivar. All right, guys, Acer japonicum, Indian summer.
Now, this is one that will sell out fast today, so make sure you check out quickly. We also have 10 other trees we're not talking about on the tables today, so you can check out your weekly email to figure out what those other 10 are. These get listed at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be ready today on Indian Summer. It's one of the most outstanding Acer japonicums with an outstanding fall color.
Yeah, I think the first time I had an introduction to this plant was as Brian Rule's background for his laptop. I mean, he took some amazing fall color pictures of this cultivar, and it just is a sea of color as you see it during the fall time. Full leaves of yellow, full leaves of red, full leaves of purple, and it's just one of the japonicums are known for its fall color, but usually you have just like one leaf with multiple different colors. This is like one leaf of this color, one leaf of that color, one leaf of another color, and it is like a symphony in the garden. It is so crazy.
And the way it fades across the tree is you may have yellow here, but then it turns into orange, maybe across a sectional of leaves, and then you get into the yellow section. And so it's insane how this fall color, the senescence, we've got a whole videos on senescence with, the leaves changing, losing the chlorophyll, changing to the fall colors. And this does this in such a unique way. There's not another Acer japonicum quite like it. It's got a good medium-sized leaf, and for me, this is a rock star of Acer japonicum. If you don't have an Indian summer, you need to get one today.
Yeah, guys, Acer japonicums, we learned in that same senescence video that they change colors based on the actual amount of daylight in the day itself. So they're going to have more consistent fall color, and that makes me think that there's something crazy at play going on with Indian summer, just the different leaves and that sort of stuff. So this is an awesome plant you're going to want to have in your garden, especially for that fall time color.
From one full moon to another, we've got Acer shirom Jordan.
Yellow. We know you love that color, man. And Jordan is going to be bringing it with the yellows. Definitely something that's going to brighten up the garden.
I know when Matt got married and he moved into his house, his wife asked for the highlighter tree from Mom and Dad's yard. And they went and dug up the Jordan, Acer shirom Jordan, from Mom and Dad's yard and brought it and planted it into their yard. So, I mean, it just gives this amazing yellow. Clearly, I'm not the only one who loves the color yellow. It just outstanding on how bright this tree can be. We've got a full cultivar breakdown of this with a large specimen at our friend Dr. Criticos' garden. And you should definitely go check that out. Once this tree gets established, it can handle some sun here in Western North Carolina. You do see some burn on it, especially as a young tree out there in the garden. It's not as heat tolerant as something like summer gold,
Right.
But the new growth on this looks very palmatum, and then as it matures, the leaf looks more and more shirosolanum. So if you see an old Acer shirosolanum Jordan, it's going to look very similar to like an old shirosolanum Arium, but more heat tolerant and more vigorous.
Yeah, I think that's something that's just like different about these guys is that palmate leaf slowly transforms into that shirosolanum. And same with the color, the top of the leaf and that new growth, the stuff that's hitting the sun is going to be a lot more yellow, and then you kind of go to a nicer green color towards the bottom. But yeah, this is one that's definitely very, very awesome. I love the yellows too. Tim's kind of talking me to the side of the yellows. I'm more of a purple guy, but Jordan is definitely one of those ones that's slowly starting to win me over more and more.
Take this, plant this next to that Amagashiguru we were talking about earlier. Crazy color combinations. For me, this is an amazing selection by Ghirardelli Nursery. It has that sort of bleached out effect that you get out of Orange Dream, which is also a Ghirardelli Nursery introduction. And give it a little more sunlight if you can, and you'll really get some amazing yellows on Jordan.
Definitely one to add to the shopping cart for sure.
Guys, next up, we've got Acer Pomatum, Fred's Wild Dream. This is probably one of the newer introductions by Talon Buckholtz. Fairly rare. It's one of those new ghosts that just has some outstanding colors.
Yeah, it's not a dream because it's right here in reality. And it's so beautiful. The pinks that it shows in the early springtime with the lime green articulation really, really set this thing apart. I mean, I love the name of it too. Just kind of the contrast of the hot pink petioles mixing with the darker greens and lighter greens on this tree is really interesting.
Now, Fred was a customer of Talon Buckholtz's, and he'd found this in one of the Rising Stars selection you were telling me earlier.
Yeah, exactly. This was a tree that Talon had been sitting on for a minute, and you know, had two other nurserymen come in, and they were looking at them. They were just looking at this tree, kept bringing them back, you know, multiple times, and finally they asked Talon if they could buy it. Talon had a little moment of rethinking, as sometimes he does with the Rising Stars, and he's like, let me hold on to it. Kept it for a couple of years, then put the name Fred's Wild Dream, because one of the guys' names was Fred, and put this introduction out because he's like, well, if they like it, maybe it's something worthy of putting into the trade.
A little rare of the new Ghost selections. Pretty cool, got some amazing colors. Get you a Wild Dream today. Y'all, we're bringing back Ceres canadensis Flamethrower to the 10 at 10 today.
Guys, this is one of the first cultivars of red bud that I got introduced to, and I mean, how can you top this? This thing is awesome during the early spring to even like that late summertime. Kind of picks up those reds to, you know, oranges to greens all the way up the tree, and it just looks amazing.
Give Flamethrower some sunlight. This tree's going to thrive and really give you outstanding colors. In sunlight, you get more intensity to the colors, be it the reds on the new growth or the yellow green color on the older growth. That combination of the red coming across the top of the yellow green is very attractive. We're just talking about colors of the leaves here. Red buds, they're known for the blooms in the spring before these heart-shaped leaves come out. And Flamethrower does that as well. So you get those beautiful rosy red blooms on the actual branches before the leaves come out. Guys, awesome tree all the way around.
Yeah, I love the habit of these trees. I mean, here in North Carolina, we see a lot of these out in the wild, and I just think it's awesome to have a cultivated variety that is just such a show. It really just shows you how far you can take this native species that we have just growing wild around here and make it into something that is just has that ornamental appeal to it. It's just awesome.
Flamethrower is one of our more popular trees that we list on Mr. Maple. Again, check out fast because it will sell out quickly today. Next up, we have Acer Pomatum Celebration.
Yeah, guys, and we're having a celebration on Labor Day, September 2nd, from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Mr. Maple Open House.
And guys, we're actually celebrating 50 years of the Nichols family growing and selling Japanese maples. So guys, 50 years, my dad started Nichols Nursery in 1974. We're here to 2024, 50 years. That's a bit of a celebration. We're gonna be here at the open house with amazing Japanese maples. And it's always a great time to hang out with people who love Japanese maples, talk about Japanese maples. We'll be shooting some top fives. Guys, we're gonna have a live podcast going on right then. And I say live, we're gonna be filming a podcast from the open house and answering different topics like, hey, what's your favorite this? Hey, what do you think about this tree? At the open house. Really unique way to shoot a podcast. You should get involved with that as well. But always lots of rare trees you won't find anywhere else. So you're going to want to be here on Labor Day of 2024. That's the Monday itself on Labor Day.
Don't miss it, because you might miss out on some awesome trees.
So guys, Acer Pomatum Celebration, one of the newer selections from Talon Buckholz. One of our favorite selections of those new ghosts. It does have that pink-red color that you don't find on any other Japanese maple.
Yeah, I mean, this thing always pulls me. I love the serrated lobe on this tree. I mean, it just has just this, I wouldn't say irregular, but just kind of like this non-uniform serration that's happening. It looks so sharp, and on top of that pink and red, it just looks crazy out there, like an alien flower or something like that.
It is pretty crazy, and the colors are outrageous. I know Guy Malot came and visited Talon, and he thought Strawberry Spring and Celebration were some of his best introductions to date. The colors are something that's new to the palette of Japanese maples. And that's what makes Celebration so special. The spring color on this is an outrageous color that you're starting to see again in the summer flush right now. And it's just beautiful. To me, this is one of the most colorful Japanese maples that you can add to the garden. Better get one today.
Yeah, I'm definitely putting this next to my Jordan, having this on one side, the Jordan in the middle, the Magi Shiguri on the other side, and then just watching those grow and have that beautiful contrasting colors all the way across the my garden, man. I mean, this is an awesome tree, and those new ghosts, man, they're pretty awesome.
Next up, we've got 6 gallons of Acer pomatum Kenchi.
Yeah, I think this is the largest I've seen this cultivar. I mean, an awesome size, and it is really just showing that thread-like leaf right there. I mean, this thing's looking like Cousin It right now.
Yeah, I like what Kenchi can provide because it's a slow-growing, more compact linear lobum. Typically grows about as tall as it does wide, typically about 5 to 6 feet tall, 5 to 6 foot wide. So it has this almost ball shape, as some people will describe it as, but really it just has this really bush-like shape that's equally as tall as it is wide, and it can give you some nice colors of yellowish oranges in the fall.
Guys, Kenchi translates to that yellow, lime green color, and I mean, it's going to provide an awesome centerpiece for the garden. This is really going to break up a lot of that texture that other palmatums provide. It's going to give you that nice airy feeling that those linear lobums provide, or that bamboo kind of deal. And I mean, it's going to look awesome during the fall time with that yellow color, and amazing sizes right now.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for something like a Cocha Noito or a Scolopendifolium, but you don't want it to get as tall, easy to fit in the garden, easy container plant. I mean, a fantastic container plant. You can go ahead and put this in a container and you're gonna make an immediate presence out there in the garden. Guys, take advantage of these large 6-gallon sizes right now while we have it.
For sure.
Y'all, next up, we've got some large 7-gallon sizes of Twombly's Red Sentinel.
One of my favorite witch's brooms, just solely on the fact that it doesn't just abide by any of the other rules of the other witch's brooms. I mean, this is a columnar witch's broom. It's gonna have that tight, dense habit, but it's gonna grow straight up. I mean, usually whenever you have that, you got a dwarf that grows in a nice ball shape, but this one's like, nah, man, I'm going up.
And that vertical habit makes it so useful in the landscape. I mean, you get all that verticality that just gives the depth to the garden, but also you can put this in small places with a small footprint. I mean, it can give you that vertical interest, but not take up much space in the garden. I've seen people put these at entranceways to gardens with 2 of them on each side as like a formal entranceway to an English garden. Ken Twombly talked about people lining this down the side of their yard and creating a deciduous hedge with the Japanese maple that has spring color and fall color, which is pretty awesome. And the more common way I've often seen this tree used is actually on the corners of buildings to really just give that vertical interest, especially if there's a walkway where you don't want branches as you're walking by. You've got a narrow tree that's going to fit in that smaller space.
And we talk about utility, but this tree just brings it with that ornamental appeal. And I mean, getting both of those two together is just a combination for an amazing tree out there.
Yeah, cherry red spring color, maroon summer color, and cherry red fall color. This tree lights it up with that flagpole color.
Yeah, man, it's an awesome one. I love the short and center nodes. And this is one that always catches customers' eyes whenever they come to the nursery.
So guys, be ready at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's when all these trees list today. Make sure you put it on your calendars to be here at Labor Day at our open house. Take care.
God bless.
And have a great day.